22 years on death row. Now, a Valley woman walks free. Governor Doug Ducey met with the State Board of Education this morning. What he had to say on Common Core. And a check of your forecast. Boy, how things are warming up. Jimmy Q has a 7-day forecast you do not want to miss.
Connecting Arizona. This is 12 News.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for watching 12 News at noon. I'm Emma Jade. She spent over 2 decades on death row, and this afternoon, Deborah Mielke is a free woman. It's a case that has garnered national attention. A woman convicted in the murder of her 4-year-old son. A couple of hours ago, Deborah Mielke was surrounded by cameras and reporters. She chose not to speak, indicating that she plans to hold a news conference tomorrow. Prosecutors lost their final appeal last week. It was over a year ago that the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals overturned her conviction because a prosecutor failed to reveal evidence of misconduct involving a detective. Mielke was then released from prison. The prosecution tried to fight against the court's ruling. In 1989, her son Christopher was murdered. Prosecutors and police believe Mielke recruited her roommate and his friend to do the killing. Mielke says she had no idea the 2 men would murder her son. And the detective whose testimony helped convict Mielke has said he would not testify in any sort of retrial. Her attorneys have since filed a lawsuit stating her civil rights were violated. Also new at noon, a former NFL star pleads guilty to sexually assaulting 2 women in Tempe and is immediately sentenced to 9 years in prison. The plea and sentencing happened this morning as Darren Sharper appeared in a Valley court by video conferencing from Los Angeles. And the reason he's in LA is because he's expected to change his plea there too. In Los Angeles, he is facing sexual assault charges. He is also facing them in New Orleans and Las Vegas. And in every one of these places, Sharper is accused of drugging and sexually assaulting women when they were unconscious or otherwise unable to resist. Some new video for you this noon of a horrific hoarding situation. This is in Cave Creek. MCSO releasing this video of a home they went through late last week. The owner was arrested on animal hoarding charges. Nearly 24 cats along with several dogs were found inside, all suffering from various medical conditions. The entire home, as you can see there, just filled with trash and debris. A Phoenix mom is in critical condition and her son is dead this noon after he stabbed her near the intersection of 51st Avenue and Cactus Road. Police say the 2 were arguing in their car last night when the son began stabbing his mom. She then fell out of the car and he kept stabbing her. Several people tried to help her out. One of those people ran inside his home, came back with a gun, told the son to stop, and if he didn't, he would fire.
That witness not been here, had those witnesses not come out and intervened, that woman likely would be dead this morning.
Officials say the son was in his late 20s and was recently removed from the home because of a drug problem. The restaurant where one person was shot during the Mesa shooting spree last week reopened its doors this morning. The alleged shooter, Ryan Giroux, fled to the Bistro 13 Cafe. It's right near EVIT after shooting 2 people at a nearby motel. Police say an employee was shot at that restaurant after he refused to give the shooter his car keys. That victim survived his injuries. DPS officer stopped a wrong-way driver on Loop 101. It happened early this morning. Around 4 a.m., officials say the driver was arrested after running into state property near Northern Avenue. The driver's identity has not been released yet. Officers aren't saying whether or not the driver was impaired. Over the weekend, this is a bizarre story. A fight broke out in a local Walmart parking lot that left 1 person dead, 2 others injured, including a police officer. Police were called to the Cottonwood Walmart after an employee said she was being assaulted by multiple people. So when police arrived, a fight broke out. DPS says multiple people were shot and a Walmart employee broke their arm while trying to help. An officer was shot in the leg but is expected to recover. The bill that would have fixed Arizona's driver's license problem is now dead. The Real ID bill was written to give Arizona residents the option of getting a driver's license that complies with federal homeland security requirements. Well, now residents will have to travel with a passport instead of a license. Even though the bill is dead, the lawmaker behind it is still hoping something can be worked out. And the Arizona House is set to debate the controversial abortion bill today after it was delayed twice last week. The bill would bar women from buying health care coverage for abortions. And supporters say Senate Bill 1318, it ensures that tax dollars don't go to abortions. But opponents say the bill allows politicians to insert themselves into women's health care decisions. Well, just a few hours ago, Governor Doug Ducey laid out his agenda to the State Board of Education. Ducey says he wants the board to thoroughly review Common Core, but he's not calling for it to be scrapped immediately. He told the board they should be adjusted as needed to serve Arizona students. Ducey called for the board to begin a review that would include students, parents, and teachers from across the state. The Navajo Nation police officer who was killed last week in a shootout will be laid to rest this Friday. Police say Officer Alex Yazzie was shot after a high-speed pursuit. It ended in northern Arizona. The officer will be remembered at the Farmington Civic Center in New Mexico. The man who allegedly shot him was killed by police. And a sunrise service was held earlier this morning for Army Specialist Lori Piestewa. She was the first Native American woman to die in combat for the United States and the first woman in the U.S. Armed Forces killed in the Iraq War. The service was held at the mountain renamed in her honor, Piestewa Peak. A Gilbert man was one of 2 people injured after his plane crashed in Sedona. Officials say the plane lost power while on its way to Sedona Airport, but the man flying the plane was actually able to find a safe landing area. Both passengers doing okay right now. When it rains in the valley, your photos come pouring in. And over the weekend, one 12 News viewers pic went viral. This is it. The photo was taken by Shauna Badger, who didn't even realize she snapped a lightning bolt. You see that? From the time she sent it to us on Friday night to this morning, this photo had been shared more than 66,000 times. Way to go, Shauna. Well, Badger said she's in shock over the reactions to her photo. And Jimmy Q, I remember catching some of that lightning. It was just stunning this weekend.
It's not often that you get to see the sun setting in the east. It really didn't, but all the clouds and those storms were billowing up towards the east of us, so you had all that light coming off of the reflection of the clouds as the sun was setting in the west. It was really beautiful. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Thanks for sending that picture in. Okay, up towards the north we go. Clear conditions. Lots of sunshine out there for today. And there you have it. Visibility is just going to be wide open for all of us today. So that should be really, really nice indeed. 79, currently 81's the warm spot. That's out in Goodyear. So for today, a temperature of 84 to 86, lots of sunshine, warmer than normal. Your average temperature 79 for this year, so those averages are slowly starting to come up. Winds will be pretty light, could be breezy later on this afternoon from time to time, but still a beautiful forecast. When we come back, Emma, we're going to talk more about the potential for maybe a slight cool down, if any, and then a heat up later on.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Jimmy Q. The 2016 presidential race has its first candidate. Overnight, Texas Senator Ted Cruz made the announcement, and this morning he laid out his plan for victory. NBC's Richard Jordan has more from Washington.
I am announcing that I'm running for president of the United States.
Senator Ted Cruz announcing this morning at Liberty University. The Texas Republican and Tea Party favorite first announced his candidacy in a Twitter video.
My story is like that of so many other American families.
But his first public appearance as the first 2016 presidential candidate was far from his Houston home in Lynchburg, Virginia. Jerry Falwell Jr. introduced Cruz in front of his home base, a crowd of young conservatives.
The answer will not come from Washington. It will come only from the men and women across this country, from men and women, from people of faith, from lovers of liberty, from people who respect the Constitution.
Cruz is getting a head start, and political analysts say he needs it, calling him a long shot for the Republican nomination.
Ted Cruz is trying to differentiate himself. He's not very well known. He's got populist support at the grassroots level, but he needs more people to know him faster. This is a smart way to do it.
Cruz has an uphill battle to reach the White House. He's only been in the Senate for 2 years, a freshman, much like President Obama was in 2008. But Cruz also needs to raise enough money to compete against more established contenders that are inching closer to making their own big announcements. Cruz is a polarizing candidate. Democrats say he's too far to the right, and even some within his own party call him too conservative.
Richard Jordan, NBC News, Washington.
All right, thanks, Richard. The Pentagon now says all 100 of the U.S. service members on the ISIS kill list have been contacted. Those service members are being urged to exercise caution and stay off social media. A group called the Islamic State Hacking Division published the names and some photos of the military members, asking ISIS sympathizers to go after them. The Department of Defense says information about the service members was gathered from individual social media sites, and there's no evidence right now that any government or military sites were hacked. Robert Durst was denied bail at court in New Orleans today. Prosecutors told the judge the only way to determine if he is a flight risk is to pore through his criminal history. Durst is charged with felony gun and drug possession in New Orleans. If convicted, he faces a possible life sentence. A second hearing was scheduled for today to contest Durst's Los Angeles murder warrant, but that hearing has been pushed back to next month. All right, remember the reporter from Alaska who quit live on air? Still ahead on 12 News. The club she owns was raided by police, and she says they're not going anywhere. Plus, Vin Diesel announces the name of his new baby girl, how he's remembering his late best friend. Welcome back, everyone, to 12 News at noon. All right, so you might remember the story of Charlo Green, the reporter who quit on air last year to fight for the legalization of marijuana. She also told viewers that she owned the Alaska Cannabis Club. Well, authorities raided that club after receiving reports of illegal pot sale happening there. Green told the Associated Press that she reopened on Saturday, saying she made it clear that they aren't going anywhere. Vin Diesel revealed his daughter's name on the Today Show this morning. Her name, Pauline, after Diesel's late best friend and Fast and Furious co-star, Paul Walker. Pauline was born actually around the time of the first screening of Furious 7. The final installment in the Fast and Furious franchise hits theaters next week. Okay, so it might not seem like it, but spring is getting shorter and shorter every year. Researchers say spring has been losing between 30 seconds and a minute each year due to how the Earth moves through the solar system. The extra time goes to summer, meaning in the year 3000, summer will be 2 days longer than it is this year. And with summers getting longer comes greater drought conditions and wildfire risk. After the warmest winter on record, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration forecast predicts drought will get worse here in Arizona. Officials say if the drought goes as predicted, it will result in an early and very active wildfire season. Jamie Q, something none of us want to hear.
Well, the Earth's been changing forever and ever. Our days here on Earth used to be 16 hours. That was it back in the day. I'm talking millions and millions, maybe a billion years ago. The Earth used to spin a lot faster. So there's always something that's changing. I do think we affect our changes on Earth as well. But right now, the immediate effect is sunshine, clear skies, and there you go. No clouds. That's a satellite. Go up to the north, though, you'll find clouds around Boise, Idaho, Seattle, Portland, Eugene, and Billings, Montana. Meanwhile, the real cold stuff here, Milwaukee down towards Chicago, just starting to clear up right now with those showers there, right around Fort Wayne. Heavy snowfall right in that area, and down towards the south, even cold conditions. Here's what it looks like from there. From the lakefront all the way to the ocean front, San Diego right now, sunny skies, not much of a marine layer over there. You drive right across the desert, it's going to be sunny skies all the way from Southern California right into the valley here. 77 for Scottsdale, and 81, our warm spot, already 86 for Maricopa. A good chance of getting into the 90s there. 30 currently for Chicago and 48 for Washington, so very cold in that temperature. Phoenix right now checking in at 79 degrees, 69 for Los Angeles, and 51 for Portland. All right, there's your future cast. Showers, cold weather is going to be moving through parts of Chicago again by Wednesday. More cold weather for the upper Midwest. Hey, tonight when you get outside, look up at the sky. Right alongside the moon, you got Venus. So there's a nice little star show there out there. It's not a star. Oh, real quick here before we get to the 7-day Emma, our pollen count is going to be on the high side Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Yeah, that's going to be back again. But temperatures in the 80s, a little cloudy, a few clouds by Wednesday, and then sunny and into the 90s by Friday and Saturday.
Whew. All right, Jimmy Q, here we go. Well, the game might not have been much, but the D-backs still managed to set a record at Salt River Fields this weekend for attendance. We'll take it. More than 13,000 fans came out to Sunday's game against the Rockies. The team's 5th sellout this week and the 3rd time this spring they have set an attendance record. The NFL owners are meeting today, and it's happening right here in the Valley. The owners will meet up at the Biltmore to talk about some rule changes, among other items on the agenda. One possible change that's getting a lot of attention right now, a 9-point touchdown. More on this on 12news.com. Coming up next on 12 News at noon, scientists say today's pot is a lot stronger than it used to be, apparently. What they found when they tested marijuana in Colorado. Welcome back, everyone. A recent lab test found that today's marijuana is a lot stronger than it used to be. Scientists looked at pot being sold in Colorado. They found levels of THC, which is a psychoactive compound in pot, were over 3 times higher than 30 years ago. The lab also found more contaminants, like fungi, than they expected. Yuck. Early trials of a new drug suggest there may be a way to slow down memory loss for people who don't quite yet have Alzheimer's. The drug is now moving into its 3rd phase of trials, in the last stage before a drug is submitted for FDA approval. So experts say the number of Americans with Alzheimer's is expected to triple in the next 40 years. Right now, no cure for this disease. Up next, we are going to head outside, see how your weather forecast is shaping up. It's getting warm. That's coming up. It is the viral video of the weekend. A band member couldn't hold back the tears at an NCAA tournament when her team lost. Cameras captured the girl crying while playing her piccolo after Villanova lost to North Carolina. She became an internet sensation, though, and she responded to the attention on Twitter, posting, "Villanova Wildcat till I die," through the smiles and the tears. It was one of my favorite videos, Jimmy Q.
Oh, poor thing. It gets very emotional for a lot of those
really
folks out there. Yeah, and it's going to continue. For us, it's called March Madness because the weather is so incredible, especially if you're visiting for spring training. Middle 80s Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And then, Emma, 88, close to 92 for Friday, 95 for Saturday.
Holy cow. All right, Jimmy Q, thanks for that. Everyone, we'll see you back here at 4 o'clock for EVB Live.